here's a look at how I have worked on my animation and the things that I think went well and things I need to work on. I've created the scene here where she stirs. If we open up my settings right here and close our render settings, I've made a couple different cameras because I did some jump cuts, and so I found it easier to separate those out so I could skip to different sections and just animate those accordingly instead of like trying to do it all at once. So if we open this up, as soon as it loads, I have Houdini rendering in the background, so things are a little slow, but we can choose our different cameras. Here I have it open to the third one, so we change it here to the second one, or not the second one, the first one. Load up our first section over here as soon as that decides to go. There we go. So if we click on the camera here, you can see I've keyed a couple frames. So these are the frames that she goes for. And then I just animated on those frames, same for the other ones here. So 2 is kind of in the middle-ish, and then 3 here at the end as soon as that goes through. And then after that, the next step for me was to basically just kind of render out each of those sections, and then in After Effects I have comped it all together. So we can open up our main one here, and each of these I made separately as well, just to make the render layers really easy to understand what went where. And then I comped that all together, and then I also made a Houdini smoke effect. So if we open up Houdini here, as soon as that decides to load and my render decides it's almost done, there we go. I've made a Houdini smoke effect, but because I'm rendering, it's not currently seen. That should end here just in a second. But I've followed this tutorial I found since I'm not as familiar with Houdini, but made this cool smoke effect. So I definitely got a good understanding of how the process works. I haven't really used it to create effects yet, so this was really neat to see, and I really want to explore it more. So it's based off of 2 different things. This is the sphere inside, which basically emits the smoke. And then I had to cache the files, which is something else I've never done before. I'm familiar with it, just haven't had to do it. So we learned some new stuff there. And then how to basically get the emitted smoke or particles to get a material on them. That way it was renderable, which was pretty cool. So I can mess around with the colors and all the other stuff that goes along with it. There we go, our render's now done. So if we hop over into our scene view, I made it here, and then if I cached it, we can move this along, and we're just going to ignore that real fast. It goes along and changes, and I could change like how fast it goes up and all the other fun features of that, so I thought that was pretty cool. Along with that, I'm learning just kind of how to integrate it into the scene. We scan along here. I'm not in love with the way it's rendering on top because I didn't import my scene to get a good perspective of what it looks like. So I kind of just used best judgment when I angled my camera to see what would look okay. So I think so far it's pretty okay for a first kind of trial run. That after that I'd like to mess with it more. And as I do more like little scenes and stuff, I want to do more smoke effects. Really want to do like a liquid effect for pouring, which I think would be really cool. But overall, I'm fairly happy with how it's come out. I think I learned some new techniques and just general ideas of how to move forward. And I think my animations are becoming a little bit smoother with the movements. But I definitely know I can push it a bit more. But it is something I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out.